Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty sure that in 2027, Maraga will be on the ballot. He has said it not once, but several times. Maraga, actually, if you look at him carefully, is showing some boldness, criticizing the government in every matter that they do that is wrong. Justice David Kenani Maraga is focused on this seat. And for those who watched the interview, I know most of you compared him with Matiang'i and rated these people differently. But I know we are all able to make key observations from Justice David Kenani Maraga's interview at Season TV with Yvonne Okwara. Ladies and gentlemen, on this particular video, I'm going to highlight some of the observations that I made from Maraga's interview. But before I take you through, if this is the first time you're watching my videos at Mokwa Times, take a second or two to subscribe, like, and comment, because that is the best support you can always give this channel. Let me dive in that much wasting of time. Number one, Justice David Kenani Maraga has a target group. And the target group is the youth of this country. The youth of this country who are much more enlightened. If you listen to his language, first of all, even before the interview, Justice David Kenani Maraga has been coming up front to defend the youth of this country. Those who are jailed right now, accused of violence and robbery and violence, terrorism, he has come out to defend them, number one. Number two, Justice David Kenani Maraga has been echoing the voice of the youth to an extent that even went to the streets in solidarity to those fallen soldiers of 25th June 2024. Where he was tear gassed. So, on the interview that he had, Justice David Kenani Maraga did not waste time, but also to brand himself as a candidate of the people and of the youths, by ensuring that he speaks on the concerns of the youth of this country. When he was asked the questions about the youth, he came out outrightly to speak what the people want to hear and the youth of this country. The people of this country, especially the youth, are interested on various specifics within governance. Number one, it's constitutionalism, which Justice David Kenani Maraga echoed articulately, showing that David Kenani Maraga knows what the people of Kenya, especially the youth, want. That was the first observation that I made there. The target group is the youth. Number two, Justice David Kenani Maraga understands the Kenyan problem right now. If you look at William Ruto's way of operation, the major problem is going against the rule of law. Whether it is extrajudicial killings, whether it is the abductions, whether it is the cost of living, whether it is the corruption, everything can be solved if the rule of law is adhered to strictly. And most Kenyans, especially the youths, have been able to point out to that. And Justice David Kenani Maraga knows that is the problem. And when it comes to power, is to fix that immensely. That is crucial. In that, the people of Kenya are going to put their efforts behind Dr. Fred Matiang'i. The people of Kenya are going to support him immensely because they believe probably is going to be the real change that people might need in this country. I know I've done various videos before showing how the disadvantages that Justice David Kenani Maraga has, and they remain to be true. But things can change if the people of Kenya decide to put tribalism aside, to put aside what we call bribery during the elections, because some of these things determine the voting patterns within the country. So if these all things are put aside, then let's wait for a serious battle from Justice David Kenani Maraga. Ladies and gentlemen, I was also able to point out that he's ready to make himself, even to become, the Kenyan project. The Kenyan people project. If someone gets funded by the people of Kenya, how is it that they are going to stop voting for him? Assuming 1 million people support his candidature by giving, let's say, 100 bob. That's 100 million already in his bank. And then these 100 million people probably convince other people, these 1 million people then convince other people to come on board and still vote for him. Ladies and gentlemen, Maraga is going to have huge amounts of money on board. Assuming each gives 1,000 bob, he'll be having billion already for the campaigns. Justice David Kenani Maraga is so much focused to ensure that he puts himself the way he is. He presents himself to the people with his natural state. If he's poor or he does not have money for the campaigns, then he tells the Kenyans, I don't have the money, so contribute for me. That contribution will be able to make the Kenyans to own him, to become the Kenyan project. And eventually, he might, if there'll be no 50+1 in the first round, he will determine who will win the second round. Very important. Ladies and gentlemen, as we speak today, he understands the weaknesses of Dr. King of Fred Matiang'i. I strongly feel that Justice David Kenani Maraga watched Matiang'i's interviews and noted the weaknesses from there, observed the comments of the Kenyans about him, and he realized that this is where I'm going to build my strength with. So when he came for the interview at Citizen TV, he was so much sure on how to do things to outshine Matiang'i. And that is what I saw. Most of the questions that he was asked, he was much more complete than the way Matiang'i was. Of which I feel strongly that Matiang'i is tactically holding these things back. But the fact remains, according to Okiya Mtata, he saw them as a weakness, and of course, he achieved the people's expectations. The time will come, I know when Matiang'i is going to conduct serious interviews. I have seen that because the way he's holding back his sentiments, his messages, it is very deliberate because he cannot make a mistake in the first interview, in the second. And also, I could see an improvement from the first interview when he had the Kameme one. So the fact remains that Matiang'i is doing most of these things deliberately. So therefore, if there's somebody you cannot judge right now, it is Matiang'i. Now, ladies and gentlemen, those are the observations I made as far as the strengths of Justice David Kenani Maraga is concerned. But however, their weaknesses I was able to identify. And this is really challenging. Number one is the coalition party. He might go for a coalition party based on the youth demand that their party has. But, ladies and gentlemen, I feel strongly that they need members of parliament. They need governors. They need senators. Honestly speaking, to govern the country properly, you need such kind of a backing. Number one. Because if William Ruto has the majority, honestly, sabotage you day and night. The people will be elected there. Most of them might not be good people. So, for Justice David Kenani Maraga to ensure that the right people have been elected to government, various positions, he must come with a party that will support even the youth to get an anchorage, somewhere they can be able to board and get to the leadership positions. But if you leave it entirely to the other opposition leaders, to the other leaders, it's going to be difficult for the youth of this country and even for Maraga himself to have some backing. When you have an MCA back in the village campaigning in your name, an MP, a senator, somewhere, that is increasing the number of votes across the country. And Maraga should not concentrate on the people who know Twitter, X and stuff. He needs to go to the grassroots. And that is how he can be able to get the people, by having various leaders vying under his ticket. So the coalition party is a mistake. Number two, it's finance. Despite Kenyans might contribute for him, Ruto has seen that's a weakness. And he knows the weakness of Kenyans, it's bribery. So money is going to be splashed in 2027. Number three, Justice Maraga is talking about having coalition parties is in talks. He's doing the same mistake that I'm seeing somewhere else. Focusing on leaders. He needs to do campaigns. He needs to move to the people. He needs to move across the country enough. Meet youths all over. Because these people are going to support him, to give him the strength that even will give some empowers to be able to even attract other political parties and other leaders on board. But if he'll first start reaching out to the people, announce the coalition party, and then go for the campaigns, he has lost. He has got it wrong, See you next time for more videos. I don't know what's your take, but kindly let me see what you think on the comment section.